So right off the bat, I want to start with something that is such a common question I get. And this is just the topic of the cost of living. And you know what? Denver, especially recently, has not been considered affordable or cheap for that matter. But here's the good news. I do see things changing. So if this is something that you're still just really up in the air about and just aren't sure about the affordability or more importantly, the cost of living here in Denver, I do have some good news for you guys, at least my personal opinion. I do see it easing up a bit in 2026, and I think there's going to be some more opportunities, especially for people with home ownership as one of their top goals for 2026. So long story short, what I mean by this is there's definitely opportunity in Denver if you know where to look. The median home price this past year was hovering right around that $600,000 to $650,000 mark. But there are certain areas, if you know where to look, that you can find homes that are typically $100,000 or even $200,000 lower than that, as well as many areas that could be significantly higher than that. So a few tips that I would share with you if you want to find a home with affordability in mind and maybe a little bit below that median home price average of $650,000 is to look in areas that could be a little bit more older and mature, areas like Wheat Ridge, maybe even Lakewood or parts of Arvada, areas where you have a lot of homes that were built in the 1940s and 1950s. Some of these homes are probably still original homeowners, and they're getting to the age now where they're probably looking at retirement homes, maybe even passing on, maybe there's other reasons. But what the point I want to make here is oftentimes those homes can be found in these areas and they might need a little bit of TLC, a little bit of fixing up and sweat equity, meaning that you're improving the home maybe yourself over the next couple of years. And yes, I understand not everybody is super handy and knows how to pick up a hammer and install a new section of drywall, but there are still things you can do, even if you're pretty inexperienced, to help improve the value of your home, and maybe just more importantly, understanding that the home you buy at that first price point, maybe at $500,000, it might not be your forever home, but at least it gets you in the game, gets you in a place where you can start doing these little projects, building up that equity in your house where in maybe 2 or 3 years, the homes have considerably appreciated in value. You can sell that home and move into something that maybe closer fits with what your dream home might be. So just really important to understand that this affordability issue in Colorado and in Denver is definitely very real, but there's still definitely places where you can find good deals and ways that you can still make this a reality, even in a time like now, which is very expensive, and for a lot of people feeling completely out of reach. And I also want to just kind of put a different spin on this. For any of you guys watching that might just be a renter initially, which could be a great, very important thing to consider before jumping into something like home ownership. If you're just going to be renting initially, rentals in Denver are also quite a bit higher than other parts of the country. They're not at the top of the list, but they're also definitely not at the bottom. You know, 1-bedroom apartments in kind of that typical range of $1,800 up to maybe $2,000 or $2,100 a month. It's a pretty significant amount you're paying just in rent. So if you are considering just maybe moving out and renting initially, shoot me a message. I can give you guys a couple tips on areas that I personally recommend to a lot of my clients that are really good starting points where you're close to a lot of the action, and at least it gives you an area that you can live in with a lot at your fingertips to then really determine and laser focus in on what neighborhood might make the most sense when it comes time to buy a home. You know, daily life expenses are also significantly up since 2019. With Denver, as with most big cities around the country, the daily living expenses like groceries are up about 20 to 30% since 2019. But when compared to other bigger metro cities like Chicago, LA, several others, one thing that Denver does have going for it is a little bit more affordable than some of those bigger cities when it comes to transportation and entertainment. So something to consider. However, on the flip side of that, if you are going to be a homeowner, a couple things that have significantly gone up recently is home insurance, as well as your annual property taxes. So with home insurance, part of that has to do with a lot of the natural disasters that have been plaguing Denver more recently. Fires, hail, just some of the natural elements of living anywhere in the world, but in Denver we have those two that tend to most directly affect our premiums for home insurance. So just be aware that that has been a significant increase in expenses. And then the other one would have to do with property taxes. Now, every state's different, and in Colorado, they do property tax assessments every 2 years. So these actually happen on odd number years. So for 2025, this year, we were having the previous 2 years having been assessed. And these last two-year cycles, we've seen significant increases on the property assessed values that are being done on the homes. So this is something that's kind of a bit of a sticking point for a lot of homeowners. On one side, it's great to see that your home is appreciating and is at a higher value, but when it comes time to being the one paying the taxes on it, sometimes it's probably the only time where you kind of hope that the number's a bit lower. So, this is something that's just always going to exist. And in Colorado, it's every 2 years that these property tax assessments happen. And you can always fight these in case you feel like yours is too high and you think it's maybe unjustly too high. You can always appeal it. The one caveat there is it's a very short window of time that they allow you to do this. So just be aware of this, that if that's something that you want to do, this is done every 2 years, odd number years, and you're going to need to do this early in the year. Usually it's right around March or April. So with all that being said, maybe you already own a house here in Denver. If you ever want help with fighting those property tax assessments, reach out. I'll put my info again down below. I help my clients all the time with this. It's only something you can do every other year on odd number years, but at times it can definitely help you save a bit of money on that property tax bill.